Welcome to Gold Star Classroom, the podcast where our panelists go back to school. I'll grade them on their answers to a variety of general knowledge and trivia questions. They don't know what I'm going to ask, and I don't know what they're going to say. The student with the highest grade at the end of today's class will win the coveted classroom prize, the Golden Banana. I'm your host and professor, Dr. Jerry Jaffe. Welcome to today's episode of Gold Star Classroom. I'm your host and headmaster, Dr. Jerry Jaffe, and it's my pleasure to introduce today's students. Sitting on my right is a comedian who recently released his new CD, Keith Bergman.
Hello there.
Hey Keith, welcome to class.
Thank you.
And sitting on my left is a comedian who opens for Don Jameson and Jim Florentine and has his CD available on iTunes, Joe Howard.
Thank you.
Look at
Good
you.
to be here.
Yes.
Look at you.
Yes.
To my students listening at home, I'd like to point out that Joe has fantastic tattoos, and they will in no way affect his grading because we're a modern PC classroom that doesn't discriminate. And sitting directly across from me is the co-host of VH1's That Metal Show, Don Jameson.
Dr. Don Jameson.
Dr. Don Jameson,
Please.
welcome.
Yes.
If Dr. Phil can be a doctor, so can you.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome to class. It's my job as your professor to quiz you on topics across the width and breadth of human learning, and then, as any good teacher would, grade your answers. At the end of today's class, the student with the highest grade will receive the coveted classroom prize, the Golden Banana. Woo!
Oh.
And should
Oh.
any students achieve maximum nerdity in their answers today, they will receive the Daily Nerd Prize.
Sorry, I got thrown by the golden banana.
You're still picturing it in your head, right?
Wasn't
get the-
that,
if
wasn't
I
that a
get the-
Bond film?
If I get the golden banana, there's no telling what I'm going to do with it. It's going to go up somewhere.
As well it should be.
And already the podcast has gone downhill.
I'm sure there's room for it in your third floor, fifth bedroom.
No,
that a metaphor for
I was
something,
thinking
or-
more of an orifice.
This is
but
a
just saying.
TV show.
Sorry,
this
I know. I
is
was
a
being
TV
nice.
friendly
No,
thing.
I was being clean.
No,
We actually call it
Podcast.
the third floor, fifth bedroom in Menor. That's what
Yeah.
we do.
Right.
An orifice is a perfectly scientific
Yes,
medical
I
word
was
to
being
use.
medical. The doctor's here.
It's
I
orificial.
figured I'd be nice.
Well, so gentlemen, and to our students listening at home, let me introduce you to our first topic.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you that the initial question is going to sound simple, but like a Russian doll, there's inner layers.
Okay.
My question to you, students, is this. Why, universally, are barns red? I will tell you there are three reasons, each more devious than the last.
Well,
Although the first answer might be obvious. If you don't know it, you'll go, oh, that's obvious.
Well,
when you hear it."
I got the number
What do you
one
think,
answer.
Don?
This is like Family Feud.
Yes.
yeah.
Because, like, back when, like, they invented barns and stuff,
Sure, yes.
like, that was the only color.
They hadn't invented any other colors yet. Keith or Joe, do you have any alternative answers?
I would say because barns are red because nail pouch chewing tobacco didn't get to them in time to paint nail pouch chewing tobacco advertisements on the barn.
Wrong.
Is that wrong?
But that is an answer that shows your livelihood crisscrossing this country.
Yes.
It's a well-observed, astute observation.
I love when I see a mail pouch painted barn. It's always black, and it's like, that's cool.
Keith, what do you think? Why are barns painted red almost universally?
I'm going to
ubiquitously?
go with some kind of half-assed, like I know what I'm talking about. Like
Go for
maybe that was the color of some, in the 1800s there was a particular kind of paint or wood coloring that would stain or protect from termites and that sort of thing, and that it was only, you couldn't mix other colors with it at the time with the limited technology they had.
You are groping in the correct direction.
He's trying to steal my answer without stealing it.
One thing you said, which is actually true, is that barns have been painted red for hundreds of years. That is an old custom. It's not like a 20th century or even an American thing. That is a standard historical thing that barns have regularly been painted red. It's not because it was the first color or somehow the most, to paraphrase you, Keith, common color either. It's actually because red is the cheapest color.
Oh.
That's what it was?
That is the reason
Oh.
why.
So that's like all my girlfriends have red lipstick and
Yeah, see? That's the connection.
they're all cheap. I
Correct.
understand.
And they're as big as the side of a barn?
Some of them.
On a side note, I painted my shed with my ex-wife's menstrual blood
Whoa!
because it was free.
He's being scientific. You can't get mad at him.
Right. That's
It was free. It didn't cost me a dime.
Well, it ties in with the cheapness factor. Now, do you have any, have you been told that red is the cheapest color of paint, especially historically for farmers over the centuries? Do you have any idea why red would be the cheapest color?
They mixed it with the blood of heretics.
Neither the blood of heretics nor the blood of ex-wives.
Yes.
Blood of animals?
It, in fact, has nothing to do with blood.
Jeez. You got 2 metal guys on this thing, and you're...
However,
blood.
it has
Trying to
something to
make
do
it
with
metal.
metal. 5 points.
Metal.
That's the connection. I am planning ahead.
Does it have to do with lead or something?
Not
No?
lead,
Okay.
but
Iron.
that's the right kind of iron. Yes, what about iron? Tell me more,
Rust,
Keith.
oxidizing.
Iron ore.
Oxidized
Just gotta
rust.
throw words out.
Yes,
All right,
but
that
they
makes
are
sense.
the right words.
Okay.
Oxidized iron oxide or rust is a common phenomenon in the soil. And if you have nothing and you're making paint at home, it's the easiest, cheapest material to mix with. So that is why. So 10 points for Keith for
There we
bringing up
go.
iron oxide.
Show off.
Yes. Now, red paint is the cheapest. It's cheapest because of iron oxide. Why is iron so common that it would be so prevalent and easy to get for farmers or people of the earth?
Well,
Illuminati.
Because it comes out of the ground?
I work with iron.
No, strangely, that is like half right, but there's the more a little bit of a physics question here. Actually, how does it happen that there's so much sort of iron
You're
mixed into the
acting
soil?
like I'm smart. I dropped out of high school. Seriously.
Well, you get 10 points for knowing so much despite the fact that you dropped out of high school, but minus 100 points for dropping out of high school.
Well, I mean, I'm a dummy. That's why I
Well-
tell dick jokes.
We're leading
that's
by
why
example here.
I'm
We're trying to-
okay.
That's why I'm glad you came to class today.
Okay.
It's my job to elevate
Teach
you.
me something. I'm just going to listen.
I'm going to teach you. Before
I,
this is
all
over,
I know about iron is Motorhead Iron Fist. It's the only iron I know about.
that's
Very
good
underrated
iron.
album.
Yes.
I know that when I
Yes.
was a child,
Plus 5 iron fist points for Don Jameson.
Hey now.
I know when I was a child I had a slingshot, and I went down to Lorraine where the iron ore.
Yeah, 5 seconds to complete the story. Ready, go.
Well, I used to steal iron ore pellets, and I used
Right.
to shoot them in my slingshot. That's all. Thanks a lot, Don.
That explains a
You're rude.
lot.
All right. Yes. Joe is trying to share his life experience.
I was trying to give you a story. I don't know.
So the Earth has iron in it, and everything that's in the Earth, all the materials and elements, come from a source.
Sure.
And that source is sort of an astronomy question.
Asteroids.
Motorhead.
Asteroids and Motorhead are both good answers. And asteroids and that material, in a nutshell, are born in suns. When suns explode, they shoot their materials out into the void of space.
Right.
And as it happens, when a sun dies, iron is one of the most common elements in it.
Why didn't you say that?
Yeah, why didn't any of you say
I don't
that?
know. This
You
guy's,
you'd like telling about a slingshot.
this guy, this
said
guy's
that.
pretending to be smart, and he lives in Menor.
He is.
Wherever the
He is smart.
And 4 million years later, you're taking the guts of a dying sun and flicking it at cans and breaking windows with it.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yes.
It's way
Well-
better than, Go ahead.
Thank you.
So I'm saying
I-
that's kind of like Zeus or something. You're
Okay.
that's
I-
godlike behavior.
But I promised I would teach you something today.
Okay.
And you and all my students at home now know why iron is so prevalent in the Earth's surface because of when suns explode.
I wasn't listening.
Got it.
Well,
I was listening.
please listen to this podcast later when it's published.
Okay. Okay.
Then you'll learn something, I
Okay.
promise.
Good.
Maybe your life will improve.
You'll have forgotten you were even
I
here by
would,
that point.
I'm going to take this moment to subtotal your points so far, which is not difficult because there's a lot of zeros involved. Prince Hamlet in Shakespeare's play once said there's more under heaven and earth than are in our books, but I'm waiting to find anything.
So it's all 0.
It's all zeros at this point.
I thought,
You-
I
you
thought
were
he got
getting
10.
points.
thought
I
he
was-
got something.
yeah.
Keith got 10. No?
Come on.
Don't question the math of the teacher. Minus 5 points.
All right.
Jeez.
Oh, Jesus.
This is brutal.
Barry, help me out here.
I'm gonna start smacking us with a ruler pretty soon.
Even the crowd's getting angry.
I noticed that. Settle down, students. I'll send you to the principal's office.
We would like to take this opportunity to invite you to visit our website, www.goldstarclassroom.com. You'll find an archive of all past and current episodes, a list of all students from past seasons, a photo gallery, links to some of our sponsors, and the all-important donate button. As Benjamin Franklin once said, if you like a podcast, you should support it. And now, back to class.
So, who was the first human in space?
Yuri Gagarin.
Nerds!
We have a winner of today's Nerd Prize, Keith Bergman.
There we go.
Christ.
You
I
just
was, said,
pulled that
I was
right
going
out.
to say John Glenn.
First American in space.
I thought he
John
was a
Glenn.
center for the Canadians.
That's very funny.
He did play hockey.
Yeah. So I should get 5
Yuri
points for
Gagarin.
that.
He should get 5 points.
Yeah, you get 5 jock points for knowing something from sports
All right,
history.
I'll take it.
That's excellent. When did
Which means you can steal the nerd prize later and stuff me in a locker.
when did Yuri Gagarin go into space?
Oh, hell.
How about the year? The year. Come on.
Come on, smart guy.
1956.
Come on, there's a smart guy in here somewhere. Woody, Keith says 1956. Don or Joe?
That's too early. I'd say like 93.
93. Joe, I'm going to give you a clue. The correct answer is between those two numbers.
57. I'm doing prices right.
Didn't you say 57?
Stuff.
I
He
said
said
56.
56.
56. Oh, 57.
Yes.
So it went to.
So I win.
The correct answer is 1961.
That means I won.
You win
won.
you
I
win
was
the
a good
dice
my
set.
point.
Yes, but you won prices right, so you have
I
to
know.
ask Drew Carey for a prize.
No, but I'm just saying, where's my points?
Drew Carey has your points.
Oh, well.
That little yodeling guy has him. He's about to fall
That's
off
fine.
the mountain.
He opens for Eddie Griffin.
I have before.
Now, to be the, shall we say, in the record books as the first human in space, that has to be certified by like an independent international body.
Of course.
Does anyone know the name of the international body that certifies such things?
I'll guess.
Kate Upton's an international buddy.
Wait, how are you?
FFA?
Gonna, if he's the only guy that's ever been in space, how is anybody else going to certify that?
Because that's a great question, because there were rules set up by this organization that certifies such things, saying to be the first person in space, you have to fulfill certain criteria.
But
And
nobody's
then the Russian space program had to prove they fulfilled all those criteria.
Is
Just
it?
saying
And I
nobody
will
saw
say-
it.
1961.
Correct. I will say that although the name of this obscure organization, of course, is a stupid question, the reason I'm asking you this question is not just to edify you, but there's actually something controversial about Yuri Gagarin's claim to being the first man in space, which is what I want to actually make one more question about Yuri Gagarin.
Does Edify mean you'll give us some pizza?
Is
No,
it-
edify is like Spotify for your brain.
Oh, okay.
Is it the FFA?
It's the Fédération of Aéronautique Internationale in France,
Oh, come on.
and they
I was going to
certify.
say Ripley's Believe It or Not.
They certify
I'm
Ripley's.
not learning anything. This is making me feel bad about myself.
Ripley's plus 10 self-esteem points for Joe Howard,
Aw, see?
Thank you.
who is now winning the game by 10.
That sounds like Star Trek kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't like it.
The FAI registers all kinds of aeronautical and space accomplishments, and it sets up criteria.
Did someone tell him to do that, or did they just decide to be jerks one day and measure people's
Now, going
accomplishments?
back at least into the late 1800s,
Okay.
there were all kinds of, the early days of aviation, even including hot air ballooning and people trying to invent the airplane. So there were all kinds of records being set, and a lot of the times it was in Europe, and the French are pompous. So it was sort of a natural, perfect storm to create an organization that would certify these records. Now, there is a controversy about whether or not Yuri Gagarin is actually the first person in space. Keith, you knew that Yuri Gagarin is considered the first human in space. Do you know anything about the controversy as to whether or not he really was the first human in space?
There was some doping involved. He was betting on games. I don't know.
That's
I know. That's
Y'all-
just wrong.
He only had one testicle.
PEDs.
yeah. Well, I heard he tried to do it a year before, but Kanye West interrupted him. So it took another year.
The first time they thought it was him, he actually just put a mask of himself on one of those space monkeys.
That FAI, because people like the U.S. and Russia were trying to get to space, set up these rules ahead of time. And one of the initial rules was that you had to safely land your vehicle. But in fact, the Russians could not figure out how to safely land their vehicle, so Yuri Gagarin bailed instead of crash landing. And the Russians hid that fact from the FAI. And so now, like, let's just say
So it's a lot like Lance Armstrong, actually. It's
Yes.
kind of, there's an asterisk there. Okay.
there is an asterisk there.
So wait, so he bailed out from space?
Well, as the craft was landing, he had like
Oh.
an ejector seat. I'm simplifying just to make the point, but he left the craft rather than have a safe landing.
See, that's why he's not even my top 100 astronauts.
Yeah, he's way down the list.
Right.
Way down.
Modern historians of space travel note the asterisk, but still credit him as the first.
Well, he was in
First man in
space.
space,
Whether
yes.
he once he left, I mean, who cares how he got back out of space?
Joe Howard, your despondence reminds me that some people have suggested that sometimes I'm a little too hard on my students, and that I should do more to build up their self-esteem.
Okay.
So I have here a list of 101 random ways to praise a student.
Okay.
And I'd just like to tell all of you guys, beautiful work.
Okay.
Aw,
Okay.
I feel
Read,
better.
read the other 100.
I have to pace them out over the life
Oh,
of
I
the
gotcha.
podcast.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
I
was
thought we were
today?
going to do them all tier.
You don't want to start feeling too good about yourself.
That's true. I don't want to build up my self-esteem like I'm actually a person.
I'll never feel that good about myself.
Well,
He could read 300. I would never
let's
feel good.
Let's turn our attention to pop culture and film history.
This is where
Yes,
I'm gonna,
let's.
Okay.
This is
Where I-
much better.
This is where I take the lead.
All right.
Me too.
Who played Pennywise in the film version of It?
Tim Curry.
Correct.
Yes.
Gold star.
Yuri
Keith Bergman.
Gagarin.
Damn it.
He was in the off-Broadway
What I
version.
have here is actually, although I use the Tim Curry one as a modern example just to whet your appetite, the Universal Studios made the series of famous classic horror movies. And I just have a list here of the actors who played all the monsters.
Yes.
Okay.
So these are in the classic Universal films. And this is kind of like a speed round. So
Okay,
I'll say
let's
the
do
name
it.
of the film and
Yes.
see who knows the answer. In the original 1931 Frankenstein, who played the monster?
Boris Karloff.
Correct. 5 points. In the original 1931 Dracula, who played Dracula?
Oh, Lugosi.
5 points. Uh-oh, he's coming up here.
He still looks sad.
Both Frankenstein and Dracula actually received silent movie treatments. So there are actually earlier film versions, but those are the universal ones.
Yes.
The famous silent version of Dracula, there was a legal dispute about the name, so they wound up, that's why it's called Nosferatu instead of Dracula.
Yeah.
But a famous German actor played Nosferatu.
Max Schreck.
5 points.
God damn you.
By which Joe means gosh darn you.
Yeah.
Gosh darn
Keith.
you.
You'd know that if you had more
Later played by
self-esteem.
Willem Dafoe. I know that.
Yes,
That's
I know.
right.
Yeah,
That's a good movie,
one.
too.
Stop derailing the later questions.
The original 1941 Wolfman.
Lon Chaney. Junior.
There you go.
Benicio del Toro.
I had it.
Also another good Wolfman. 1923 Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Lon Chaney Jr.
Senior.
Lon Chaney.
Senior. Original 1932 The Mummy.
Boris Karloff.
Correct. 5 points.
Boris Karloff.
Correct. 5 points for Keith. The original Lon Chaney Sr., who appeared primarily in silent films, was known for his makeup artist skills in the day, and he had a famous nickname. Anyone know his famous nickname?
Vincent Price.
No, but we do cover Vincent Price on another episode of this
Something
podcast.
Like the man of something.
Man of a Thousand Faces.
Keith Bergman.
Wait! I helped him.
Well, this is a lightning round.
Nonsense.
The lightning
You can
round.
give him 1.5 of my points.
Okay, you guys are time sharing your points.
Nonsense.
Universal took some of these monster movies and started having sequels and combined ones. And in particular, because of all the sequels, some other actors played Frankenstein after Boris Karloff. So I have here a list of the other major actors in the Universal film world of those, 40s, who played
Johnny
the
Depp.
monster. Not Johnny Depp. Does anyone know who played any of the other Frankensteins?
Oh, man.
Curly from the Three Stooges.
Shemp?
No,
B. Arthur.
no.
That's a good one.
5 points for a good one. All right. The Bride of Frankenstein is also Karloff. The Ghost of Frankenstein is Lon Chaney Jr.
Okay.
House of Frankenstein, an actor who was mildly famous in his own right, but is not an icon like these other guys, took over the role and played him in the next 3 films, and that was like the last actor in the series. So bonus points if anyone knows the other actor who played Frankenstein in House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which was
Holy
the last
crap.
film in the series.
Really slumming it there.
A little bit.
Steven Seagal.
Peter
Steven
Lorre.
Seagal. He looks like Steven Seagal. No Peter Lorre, although another favorite of the Gold Star Classroom.
I don't know it.
In these last 3 movies, they were all like Monster Fest. There's Dracula would be in them, and Wolfman would be in them, and the Frankenstein monster was sort of turned into just like a dumb thug, whereas in the earlier movies with
Like
Karloff,
Joe.
yeah, a little bit like Joe, but not as good looking, and Joe has way better tattoos.
He's a handsome man.
Handsome fella.
Anyway, so the sort of
Look at me.
dumb lumbering
fella.
Frankenstein's monster of those last 3 movies was played by well-known character actor Glenn Strange.
It's not well known.
No.
Stop with the nonsense. You're so full of it.
I am
It's
a
not
little
well
bit.
known.
Get a piece of me.
Stop it. Go pee.
All right. Well, gentlemen,
Yes.
while I prepare to tally your final grades and determine who the winner of today's classroom prize
You didn't
is,
keep score.
I'm doing all kinds of things over here you're not even aware of.
Okay. All right.
Told you, Illuminati, man.
All right.
I'm going to give you all one more chance to...
Score 8 points.
So, I'm going to give you your extra credit topic, and then you tell me something about it. Today's extra credit topic is American history. Do you know any interesting facts, factoids, data, trivia about American history?
Oh, yeah. I know that
Don, go.
Harry Belafonte started the Civil War.
Excellent. I will fact check that later. If it turns out to be true, I will award you 10 bonus points.
It's true.
Joe or Keith, show us why you're the factotum.
The factotum pole was actually a very common feature in the American West.
Very good.
It was
Excellent.
a better totem pole than the other totem poles, and was really arrogant about it.
And that's a fact.
So there you go.
Totem.
And Joe Howard, tell us some.
Without doing my bit, I will discuss that in American history,
Yes.
a Cleveland Indian named Ray Chapman was killed with a baseball in 1920, and he died, and he's buried in a cemetery near my house. That's what I would like to say. He's the only person that ever died playing Major League Baseball.
That's good.
All right.
That's history.
That is
That is
God
history.
history.
damn it.
Gosh darn it.
So, well,
That's why
All right.
people dies in this town.
So it remains for me to tally your final points and award the coveted classroom prize of the Golden Banana to the student with the highest score. And the student with the highest score today is Joe Howard.
yes.
Wow.
You
Yes.
uneducated blob. How did you
Shoving
win
it
this?
right up my butt.
Because
Because
he learned the most
he
during
got
the
because he got
class.
Frankenstein points.
He learned the most
No,
during the class.
this is under
Where is
protest.
the golden banana? Because me and my girlfriend are going to use it.
It is awarded in a separate ceremony after the podcast.
Oh, darn it.
So it just
I want
remains
it.
for me, your host and headmaster, Dr. Jerry Jaffe, to thank you, my students, Keith,
Thanks.
Don,
Pleasure, thank you.
thank you, and Joe,
Please address me
I
as
just-
the winner.
as the winner, Joe.
I just want to say the last time I was the winner.
Right, well,
So I got dumber since the last time, but
or the students
No,
around
you're
you
just
got better.
sitting next to greatness. That's the only thing.
You are the salami in a greatness sandwich with 2 great pieces of wheat bread
I'm
greatness.
fantastic, Don. You don't have a chance. Thank you.
All right, you got a Power Ranger on your arm.
And I will, on that happy note, I will say thank you to the students listening at home, and thank you.
Thank you.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, guys.
Gold Star Classroom is written and produced by Jerry Jaffe. Our producer and engineer is Stephen Gutierrez. Original music composed and produced by Jeff Geddert. Mr. Geddert is also our assistant producer. All commentary and opinions expressed by guests of Gold Star Classroom are meant for entertainment purposes only. For Gold Star Classroom, I'm Jerry Jaffe.